The man suddenly realizes their boat isn't sailing on the ocean at all. It's floating directly above a sunken city. Beneath his feet stands a skyscraper with dozens of stories tall. Its roof peeks out just below the surface. He looks around in sheer terror. The once thriving metropolis knows only has its tallest buildings still visible. They stick out of the water like isolated islands. Everything else has vanished, entirely swallowed by the endless, dark ocean. What could have happened to this city? What kind of catastrophe could erase a civilization built from steel and concrete in a single night? What terrifying force could tear the entire ocean? What kind of apocalypse could unleash massive waves dozens of years ago, wiping out every living thing around the coast of the planet? Today, bring you these movies and epic disaster blockbusters. Join the main characters as they embark on a desperate hunt for survival and all. But the origins of this devastation date back 5 years. 2 comets, like the signs of death, ripped straight through the Earth's crust. The terrifying impact instantly ignited more than half the planet. Shockwaves swept across every inch of land like a final judgment from the apocalypse. Within just a few hours, 80% of the world's population was gone forever.
5
years later, the Earth still hasn't recovered from the catastrophe. Countless comet fragments continue to orbit the planet. They hang like ticking time bombs, ready to strike the surface without warning at any moment. Survivors once tried to rebuild their homes, but they soon discovered something cruel. This broken, scarred world would not give humanity a second chance. Radiation is everywhere, capable of killing an adult in just 3 minutes. Strangely enough, rumors speak of places that have miraculously stayed clean, as if the disaster never even touched them. Finding those untouched, clean lands has become the survivors' only hope. The main character, John, lies with his family along with others in a cramped bunker, barely clinging to life. But conditions outside keep getting worse. Earthquakes strike constantly. Volcanoes threaten to erupt at any moment. Everyone inside the bunker knows the truth. This place won't hold much longer. They have to find another way out. One day, John puts on his protective suit and heads out into the wasteland once more. After crossing a stretch of beach, he suddenly sees a coastline ahead. John excitedly tells his companions over the radio that several lifeboats are sitting right on the sand. And farther out on the water, a rusted destroyer floats silently in the distance. John climbs into the destroyer through a hole in its hull. He searches the entire ship from top to bottom. No supplies and no survivors. Only a few charred, paralyzed bodies that no,
it's right on top.
He spots a purple power cup inside the ship's logbook.
Staying ahead of it,
a radiation storm is arriving.
How are you?
John sprints.
I'm moving as fast as I can.
A wall of black storm clouds is rushing forward at terrifying speed. Inside the storm, every light in the
Open the door!
He knows exactly what would happen if John doesn't dare think. He runs into the light and shouts, telling his companions he swears he can make it before the storm hits. In the distance, the bunker's heavy metal door slowly slides open, but the storm is already right on his heels. Just as he reaches the entrance, a bolt of lightning explodes directly behind him. John leaps forward and dives
Where'd you find it?
Once inside, he immediately tells his companions to close it. The metal door slams shut. The danger passes. After a full-body decontamination, John takes off his hospital suit and sits on the floor, gasping for breath. The terrifying scene he just escaped was replaying in his mind. Later, in the bunker's cafeteria, John hands the purple flower to his wife, Anna. Anna takes it, and her eyes light up instantly. It's been 5 years since she last saw her. She's almost forgotten what they look like. Their son Nathan, sitting nearby, stares at the boat and suddenly says, "I want to go outside." John's face hardens, and immediately warns his son that the outside world is far from dangerous. He's looking to go outside. They discuss whether to take him to the several administrators stare at the longer screens.
We're not going to get through here!
All the screens begin to flash. The next second, the entire itself right at the bunker's entrance. A massive fissure breaks open in the ground. Alarms blare throughout the entire facility. Screams and cries fill every corridor. John grabs his wife and son, quickly packs a small supply bag, and sprints through the exit. The main entrance is completely blocked by the
There are more boats in here!
already standing for hours. We have been pushed outside. The scene outside is even more chaotic. Refugees are everywhere, ready for their lives. Some are protected places. Others have nothing to do with places. Everyone is rushing down in the same direction. The lifeboats on the beach have become their only focus. The crowd surges toward the shore like a the first boat is already packed tightly. Or still, more people are desperately climbing onto its sides. The boat is fighting. It quickly passes John immediately senses something. Midway, he suddenly sees his friend being held down by several people in the shallow water. They're trying to steal his mask. John can't rush him. Before the attackers were, they grabbed their friend, who's already choked on water, up from the SBA.I in the chaos. John doesn't have to chase him. He grabs their friend. finally stumble and scramble into the cabin. As soon as they steady themselves, shouts ring out from inside. Close the door. Hurry. If we don't close it now, none of us are making it. The man guarding the hatch grits his teeth and slams the door shut with force. More than half the people outside never made it aboard. They bang on the hull and scream in utter despair. At that moment, Nathan tugs on John's arm. John turns around. On the horizon, a wall of water dozens of meters high is charging toward them at full speed. The people still on the shore see it and completely break down. They scream and try to run back, but it's already too late. The giant wave crashes down like a ravenous beast, swallowing everyone on the shore in an instant. The small boat is tossed violently in the waves. Everything spins uncontrollably. Everyone is thrown around inside. After several terrifying moments, the boat finally stabilizes. John checks their direction and suggests sailing southeast. If everything goes well, they can reach London in about a week. But a week on the open ocean, trapped inside this small, cramped boat, will be far from easy. John takes out a detector and checks the air quality. To their relief, the air is clean and safe. Only then do people dare remove their masks and breathe in the fresh air they've missed for so long. Still, no one can feel relieved. Iceland has completely disappeared. Ocean currents have shifted entirely, and no one knows if they'll actually make it to London. All they can do is pray silently. After night falls, John lies inside the cabin. He opens his eyes every few moments to check his surroundings, terrified of any unexpected danger. The next day, trouble finally arrives. The boat suddenly stops. The engine has broken down. The vessel drifts helplessly on the water. If this continues, they'll all die. John crawls into the engine compartment and begins repairs. Fortunately, he manages to fix it just in time. That night, John and his son look up at the sky together. The Milky Way they once knew is gone at Iceland's place. Countless pieces of debris float in space. They form a tiny band of light stretching across the sky. Days pass by. When the boat runs out, everyone grows weak and dizzy from it. They lean against the walls. Suddenly, the boat hits something hard and jolts to a stop. John opens the door. All they can see are solid buildings. The picture skyscrapers stick out of the water. But from their design, it's clear they're not. The group snaps back to attention. The boat soon docks on a nearby island. They walk along the streets and find the sign saying John takes out his detector and checks the air. The air quality is barely acceptable. But long-term exposure to this level of radiation will cause severe damage to their bodies. They need to find a bomb shelter or safety as soon as possible. Just then, several figures appear. Before long, they stop shooting at us. Hundreds of refugees. Wait. Radiation for so long.
Move, my friend!
I need to go.
Are you going to take our family, please?
Soldiers with weapons stand ready inside, and an officer shouts from the top of the wall. Only highly got officials with passes are allowed to enter. Anna quickly pulls out her ID badge. The officer glances at it. Just as everyone begins to relax, John's friend leaves. His eye closes, rushes to the wall and shouts his name. In his former position, the situation threatens to spiral out of control. The soldiers stop negotiating. Chaos breaks out immediately. They force the entrance closed. John and his family are unable to get in. At that moment, the sky in the distance darkens dramatically. A massive radiation storm is rushing toward them at high speed. The crowd panics and scatters in all directions. John grabs his wife and son and runs. Just then, a vehicle approaches. John steps directly in front of him, begging the driver to take them to one floor. The driver pulls over, then puts out his phone, says John's watch has changed. John doesn't hesitate. He takes off his watch and hands it over. The driver is off. John quickly pulls his hand inside. The driver pulls over and says everyone should step out from his pressure. John steps out from the station. It doesn't take long before he sees a strange noise echoes from the sky. John instinctively touches the ground. His past experience tells him these isn't just a radiation storm. Something far worse is coming. That he looks up sharply. Sure enough, in the sky not far away, countless fireballs are hurtling straight toward them. The comet fragments leave no room to escape. They can only take cover where they stand. They hide behind a large tree, holding each other tightly. The temperature in the air skyrockets instantly. Burning debris rains down like shooting stars. Every impact sends massive flames and dust into the air, miraculously. Everyone survives unharmed. Once the chaos calms down, they salvage whatever usable items they can find from the wreckage and continue making their way toward London. Before long, they reach Anna's mother's house. When Anna's mother sees her daughter, son-in-law, and grandson after so many years apart, her eyes fill with tears. They embrace emotionally. Her mother's home is relatively well protected. Though there's no running water or electricity, she and a few others have managed to keep the place livable. John's family can finally catch their breath while Anna is resting. She suddenly hears violent coughing coming from the bathroom. She walks in and finds blood in the sink. John sees her expression and knows he can't hide it any longer. He tells her the truth. Back in the bunker. The doctor warned him that once he started coughing up blood, he only had 6 to 8 weeks left to live, that it's likely from all the times he went outside the bunker. Anna freezes in shock, even in the apocalypse. Even after witnessing so much death, she cannot accept the cruel reality. But the man she loves is John holds her. After a moment, he says, "You can't stay here and find that perfect safe zone so you too can live in peace." The next day, they say goodbye to Anna's mother. Before they leave, telling him to protect his wife and son. And so, they hit the road again. They leave London and drive through the forest. Everything is calm at first. But after night falls, disaster strikes without warning. The girl traveling with them is shot in the head. She collapses in her seat. John immediately jumps out to secure the area. Shouts come from the darkness. "Leave the vehicle. Luckily, John has the pistol to fight back. Otherwise, they would all be dead. Perhaps the attackers underestimated him. John quickly takes down the one on the left. The attacker on the right grows far more cautious. Refusing to show himself easily, John aims to fire back, but the gun is emptied at that critical moment. Anna grabs the fallen attacker's weapon and takes down the remaining man. The three narrowly escape with their lives. The next morning, they bury the girl who died with Demon and continue toward their unknown destination. The vehicle drives for hours on endless mountain roads. Suddenly, they see a line of abandoned cars ahead. John steps out and takes one look at
the others. Just follow me. I'll go first,
stretches
okay?
across the road. The Earth's crust is torn open, creating an impassable gorge that cuts off the entire path. The only way across is a rickety rope ladder. John doesn't know John steps on the roads. Later on, they have no choice. Anna follows behind him, trembling with fear and screaming uncontrollably. Just then, a powerful gust of wind hits them. All three are swung violently sideways, nearly thrown off the bridge behind them. Wind calls in their ears. The rope bridge shakes violently. They cling to the ropes, frozen in long seconds. The wind dies down. The group hurries across as fast as they can. They finally make it to the other side. But the real test is only just begun. A much more unstable ladder. They have to fall across the John lets his wife and son go first, standing behind the water. The three fall slowly forward. Every step makes the ladder creak terribly. The ladder shakes violently. The ladder beneath them is the section of the floor is the shit out of place. A man crawling on that platform expelled the exit. He shoves another person beside him. That person has no time to react before falling into the ground. But it's not enough. Seeing this section of the ladder collapse. The minute part of the ladder John is useful. John reacts instantly. He lunges forward to the ladder, working together with his wife. They hold on to their son and like and scramble toward the opposite side. The moment they reach safety, the entire bridge collapses behind them. The three walk for what feels like an eternity, exhausted, yet still unable to find the legendary safe zone. All around them is scorched, lifeless earth. Not a single sign of life can be seen. Just then, a man holding a gun appears in front of them. John quickly raises his hands, stating their names and explaining why they're there. Surprisingly, the man lowers his weapon after hearing them. He leads them to his hidden shelter they have now reached. A city in northern France. Inside the shelter, the man warmly welcomes the three strangers. When he hears they're searching for the safe zone, he nods and says the place is real. It's called the crater, but getting there is extremely dangerous. Remnants of various military factions are constantly fighting. The land route is completely blocked. However, if they're truly determined to go, he can show them a secret path. The man pulls a photograph from his pocket and hands it to John. This photo acts as a pass. Show it to the officer at the checkpoint, and they'll be allowed through, but it's far safer than trying to cross on their own. He then asks John to take his daughter, Camille, with them to the crater. It's the only place where they can truly start over. Anna agrees immediately. The group gets back in the car and continues their journey, but John's coughing grows worse and worse. They stop at a relatively safe place to rest, but no sooner have they parked than a group of armed men confronts them, weapons aimed directly at them. One soldier shouts, "This entire area is filled with landmines that you're lucky to have made it this far alive." Camille explains their mission in French. Only then do the soldiers go to their home. That night, they even offer to help the group get through the most dangerous checkpoint. The soldier explains this area is the only way to reach the crater. The fighting rages non-stop. Under cover of night, the soldier leads the four to the edge of the battlefield. Gunfire erupts from every direction. Artillery shells explode in the dirt and rocks fly everywhere. The group punches into it and follows closely behind the soldier. One of his past any second, a straight shot. John holds Nathan's hand tightly and stays right. All right. Camille grits her teeth and stays silent. They dash the craters, step around dead bodies, and finally reach a relatively safe area. The soldier, out of breath, tells them to keep going. They'll find the officer from the photograph soon. He can guide them the rest of the way. John thanks him, then continues moving under the cover of darkness. They walk until early morning, and finally reach the officer's camp, cross the mountain ahead, and they should be at the crater. But when they ask about the officer, they learn he was killed in battle, with no other choice. John approaches the camp's commander and begs for a way through. The commander takes pity on John, knowing he doesn't have long to live, that he points to a nearby bus. Take that and goes to the crater. After everything he's been through, John only wants to give his wife and son a good life in his remaining days, but the road ahead remains filled with danger. During the bus ride, an explosion inside the bus. Guards jump off the easily engage the attackers immediately, but are shot and killed on the spot. Other raiders swarm the vehicle, shouting for everyone to go. John squeezes in his tight. No matter what. A struggle breaks out inside the bus. Other passengers band together and cling down one of the raiders. Amid the chaos, 2 gunshots ring out. A moment later, John pushes open the door and steps outside. Anna sighs in relief, but notices John is having trouble walking that he moves his hand. Everyone sees he's been shot in the abdomen. Blood pours from him. John grits his teeth and says, "I can keep going." Anna quickly runs to the driver's seat, starts the bus, and continues to the crater. After a short distance, the vehicle can go no farther. They have to continue on foot. The others help John. They walk for hours. Finally, they reach the summit. Before them, the crater is full of life. Lush green trees cover the ground. A clear lake shimmers in the sunlight. It's as if the apocalypse never happened. The four can't help but smile that that very moment. John can